It's 10 o'clock. This is Sky News at 10. Our top story. England have done it, through to the quarter-finals of Euro 2024 in a hair-raising 120 minutes of football. Goals from Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane sealed the win, but they'll need to improve when they take on Switzerland next weekend. Despite the fans' relief, questions remain over the performance of Gareth Southgate's side. France's far right makes its mark. The National Rally Parties, projected to have won the first round of parliamentary elections, will be live in Paris. The sound and the fury. Nigel Farage tells Sky News he'll have nothing to do with the Conservative Party if he's elected. But a Reform election candidate disowns the party over a racism row. Police in Tenerife call off the search for missing British teenager Jay Slater. And fighting to be fit, Andy Murray says he's still hopeful he'll play at Wimbledon this year. We'll take the first look at tomorrow's front pages in our press preview from 10:30. Good evening. England got the result they needed tonight after a match that was excruciating at times. They finally found their momentum, coming from behind to beat Slovakia in extra time to make it through to the quarter-finals of Euro 2024. But despite the win, many fans were disappointed by a lacklustre performance. Our sports correspondent Rob Harris reports.
Where all hope seemed lost, pure, unimaginable bliss. Singing for the three-line saviour.
Jude is our saviour. If it's not for Jude, where would he be? We'd be out.
Fans, like the players who were preparing to go home from the Euros, now celebrating the greatest of escapes against Slovakia. But this last 16 clash began so badly. When calmness and composure was needed, England were careless. Mark Gahey left on edge after an early booking and now suspended for the quarter-finals. And with the defence so disjointed, this was coming.
It's been fed, it's Schranz!
Ivan Schranz giving Slovakia a deserved lead. They were as determined as England were deficient and dysfunctional.
You thought the outside noise was loud.
And booed by their own fans. Phil Foden's joy was short-lived, VAR ruling out his equaliser.
Offside.
Harry Kane, usually so certain to score, was nowhere near. Time was running out. Something special was needed. How about this?
Here's the overhead kick from Bellingham!
A stunning overhead kick from Jude Bellingham. A reprieve in the 5th minute of injury time. These fans had already left their seats and missed it.
Have England scored?
They've scored. An equaliser. Jude Bellingham.
Oh, God.
Could England now seize the momentum? The answer came in their first minute of extra time.
Kane is there!
Kane was reawakened. The captain's header turning the game around. Gareth Southgate's side holding on for a 2-1 win and ensuring he will have a 100th game in charge. Now 5 days to recover from the drama, with the dream of the trophy still alive.
You know, you're 30 seconds from going home, having to listen to all the rubbish, feeling like you've let a nation of people down, and in 30 seconds or one kick of the ball, everything can change. And yeah, it's a feeling that I don't like to be in, but when it's done, it feels great.
This was a game bringing back memories of Iceland in 2016, but somehow they avoided another Euros embarrassment. Now they can look forward to a quarter-final with Switzerland. It's not about the performance, they got the result needed.
But how often can England play so poorly and escape with a victory?
England look god-awful. Southgate, I think they should sack him after this game.
We can't play that bad for another 90 minutes, surely.
We've got through to the quarter-final.
That's why we're going to win it. We're not going to play good football, but we're just going to have bits of excellence.
Rob Harris, Sky News, Gelsenkirchen.
Sky's sports correspondent Rob is in Gelsenkirchen still for us. And Rob, England will advance now, but it was uncomfortable viewing at times, wasn't it?
When I was sitting in that stadium, watching England perform so listlessly and the fans jeering, it seemed unimaginable I'd be standing here now talking about England being in the quarter-finals. They were creating nothing. It was such a poor performance, of the like we have been seeing already in the group stage here. But then that incredibly special moment from Jude Bellingham, a day after his 21st birthday. This was his gift to the nation, a spectacular bicycle kick that could well become one of those iconic moments in English football history if it now propels England all the way through to the final. And hearing from Bellingham afterwards, you got a sense of just how much pressure is on his young shoulders and what it's like to play for England. He was saying that the intensity can be so great to try to deliver for the nation, and he can really feel the criticism. He sensed a bit of a pile-on, so he said it's nice to sort of throw it back to some of the critics. But however challenging it is, feeling the intensity of the pressure, delivering moments like that, followed by Harry Kane's winner, is why so many fans in their thousands have travelled out to Germany in the hope to finally see England's men emulate the Lionesses by becoming European champions. But Gareth Southgate knows this spirit is something now he has to harness and turn it into stronger performances as well, because how often can they produce performances like this and still get the victory? They're having to dig deep. The tactics aren't working. The team isn't gelling. He's having to make changes, but those changes are producing the effect required. Now he'll be sitting back assessing the tactics, looking at who can perhaps make the impact, knowing that England are on the kinder side of the draw. But Switzerland are next. They're the ones who beat the holders and knocked Italy out just yesterday.
Roll on next weekend. Rob, for the moment, thank you. France's far right is projected to have made big gains in the first round of the parliamentary elections. The surprise vote was called by President Macron after his centrist alliance was beaten in European elections earlier this month. Exit polls show Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella's National Rally Party has a lead of 33% of the popular vote. The left-wing coalition, the New Popular Front, is in second place on 28.5% of the vote. And President Emmanuel Macron's Together for the Republic, with current Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, trails in third on 22%. Our international correspondent John Sparks reports from Paris.
New face, new name, a new political reality in France. This is 28-year-old Jordan Bardella. Frontman of the hard right, he's led National Rally to a first-place finish in the first round of parliamentary elections.
There he is, a young man standing on the brink of power. He could be the next Prime Minister of France. But Jordan Bardella, just 28 years old, is not there yet. He's got to convince the country he's a mainstream politician, not a right-wing extremist.
I want to tell our supporters to mobilize so that they can carry out a final effort next Sunday. Next Sunday's vote will be one of the most important in the history of modern France.
His party, a one-time political pariah, now poised to form the largest bloc in Parliament. And he's promised to respect the country's traditional values.
Mr. Bardella, are the people of France ready to trust you?
Yet National Rally are ultra-nationalists, and many will reject his pitch for the middle ground. They were challenged from the left by the New Popular Front, a hastily organised alliance of socialists, communists and Greens. And early results suggest they have finished a strong second. Emmanuel Macron's decision to call the election was described as a wild gamble. It's now clear it's a gamble he has lost, with his centrist Ensemble coalition coming third. Macron's Prime Minister, Gabriel Attal, said it's now a case of damage control.
Our goal is clear. We must stop the right from gaining an absolute majority in the first round.
Turnout was exceptionally high, with 35 million having their say, a huge increase on the last parliamentary poll. The prospect of a new government scaring some, exciting others. But in central Paris, people told us they were anxious.
I'm worried.
Why's that?
By the rise of populism in France and both extremes, left and right. I'm worried as much by the left and the right.
The future feels uncertain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
France is moving into the unknown, with people taking to the streets across the country to voice their discontent. The hard right in France have Parliament within their grasp. Instability may be the result. John Sparks, Sky News in Paris.
John joins me now. And John, how much of a moment is this exactly? Is it possible that the far-right National Rally could become the dominant presence in France?
Well, you know what, Gillian, they are off to a good start. They have certainly done that. I'm in the Place de la République in the centre of Paris, popular place of protest, and there is a big rally building behind me. It's been thrown by one of the key parties on the left, in the leftist alliance called France Unbowed. Got MPs on the hard left now whipping up the crowd, and you know what? This is a response. It's a response to the historic showing of the hard-right National Rally in the first round of the parliamentary elections. They have done well. They've done very well. But you know what? So have the leftist alliance. They have also done well. And I think the mood here is as celebratory as anything. The group that haven't done well, that's Macron. Macron's centralist alliance Ensemble You know, Macron was taking a gamble when he called this snap election, and that is a gamble that he has lost. I'll just take you through what happens next. We've basically seen the first round of a two-round boxing match. And over the next week, we are going to see some feverish campaigning. We're going to see some political tactics going on as groups on the left and the right, they try to cement their presence in Parliament. But you know what, Macron, I think he's out of it. Absolutely telling tonight that his Prime Minister, Gabriel Attal, he said to voters, well, cast your vote to deny National Rally a majority government, a majority position in the Parliament. And if that isn't a sign of a weakness, I don't know what is.
John, thank you. Nigel Farage has been speaking at a rally in Birmingham, where he entered the stage to fireworks and said his Reform UK party believes in having fun and enjoying life. Mr Farage told Sky News he will not join the Conservatives after the election and, in his words, wants nothing to do with them. He also rejected allegations of racism within his own party, as our political editor, Beth Rigby, reports.
Morning, welcome. Reform a political home that's proving popular. Thousands gathered in Birmingham for a mass rally to hear from the man they hope can make Britain great again. A Trumpian slogan and this a US-style gathering. Nigel Farage exploding onto the stage.
Nigel Farage might be controversial, but he has made Reform a real contender in this campaign, and in just 5 days' time he could become an MP for the first time ever, with an even bigger voice in national life, and this time with a democratic mandate.
Welcome to the thinking man and thinking woman's alternative to Glastonbury. Over the course of the next few years, as we're going to be the leading voice of opposition, and I say that because the Conservative Party will be in opposition, but they won't be the opposition, because they disagree with each other on virtually everything.
Many former Conservative voters in this room agree. What did you make of Nigel up there?
Fabulous.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, honest, straightforward.
That's
yeah,
it. It's
brilliant.
not just his charisma, it's the words he says, it's the substance behind the words he says. Yeah. It's not just a blanket approach.
Do you think they're going to do well in the election?
I think there's a lot of silent people who maybe are frightened to come out and say they're going to vote Reform, and I think there's going to be a shock to the system.
This leader looking to take lumps out of the Tories this week and beyond. You have said that you would like to perform a reverse takeover of the Tories. What does that look like?
We are going in our own direction, all right? And if there are people in the Conservative Party that agree with our agenda, they're very welcome to come and join us.
Do you think that the Tories would want to have you in their party now? Someone like Priti Patel has indicated that you wouldn't be welcome, having previously said she wants you
I want nothing to do with them. They're awful. They're ghastly.
So you rule out joining the Tory party after a general election?
They betrayed the 2019 election result. Brexit voters, they've no interest in the truth. For them, it's all a game.
So to be
about
clear,
being
Nigel,
in power.
you would rule
no
out.
Interest.
You would rule out.
Yes.
You would rule it out joining the Conservative Party.
Yeah, this is a new political
That
movement.
was a yes, wasn't it?
I want nothing to do with them.
But homophobic language from Reform's event organiser George Jones clouding this campaign. Were you angry with George when you heard he'd said that?
Well, I was very angry. Of course I was. Furious.
Why were you furious?
The football was on. He was downwind of a few drinks. We can all say silly things when we're a bit half-cut. We all know that.
I don't know. I mean, do people say things like that when they're drunk?
Oh, people say all sorts of things when they're drunk.
Do they?
And often they don't even remember it the next day. But it was awful.
For this Reform candidate, it was all too much. Liam Booth Isherwood today suspended his campaign in Erewash to back the Tory candidate.
Thank you!
Nigel Farage thinks he's on track now to make real political progress. The celebrations could be about to get much bigger. Whatever the fireworks of the campaign, this leader unbowed. Beth Rigby, Sky News, Birmingham.
And this is a full list of all the candidates standing in Erewash. That's been the final weekend of campaigning before the election. The Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, visited a Jewish community in North London, where he delivered a speech promising to confront anti-Semitism and tighten laws around demonstrations if his party is re-elected. Meanwhile, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Ed Davey, couldn't resist another water-based photo opportunity. He was in Cheltenham for aqua aerobics and said he's confident his party could steal the seat from the Conservatives, who have a majority of less than 1,000 votes. A 13-year-old boy has been shot dead by police in the US city of Utica in the state of New York. Footage filmed by a witness shows the boy, who officers say was carrying a replica gun, being tackled to the ground and shot. A warning: this report by Emma Birchley contains video shortly before the shooting, which viewers might find distressing.
Just pat you down and make sure you got no weapons on you.
A police chase through a residential street. A 13-year-old wrestled to the ground. Then, straight after this, a bang.
Oh my God! Yo, he just shot him!
Total shock from a bystander who witnessed the moment schoolboy Naya Mwe was hit by a police bullet. One officer can be heard seeming to question why his colleague had fired.
What the f did he shoot? Back up, back up, back up!
According to the Utica Police Department, the boy and another teenager were stopped at 10:18 on Friday night as part of an investigation into at least 2 robberies in which a firearm had been brandished.
During the stop, one of the individuals fled from the officers on foot. While fleeing, the youth displayed what appeared to be a handgun, and a Utica police officer ultimately discharged his firearm once, striking the male during a ground struggle.
Attempts were made to resuscitate the boy at the scene, but he died in hospital. On his body was found a replica Glock gun with a detachable magazine, but which fired only pellets.
All of us stick together, that's right. Stand up and protect our children. That's right.
His death has prompted fury.
We are going to lean on the police department.
And overwhelming grief. Candles lit and flowers left for the teenager who, according to his family, had never been in trouble and was heading home after an 8th grade barbecue. The police have promised transparency, releasing body-worn camera footage of the incident and naming the officer who fired the gun as Patrick Husney.
What happened yesterday evening in our community is an event that has become all too familiar and routine over and over and over again. We called this press conference not just to explain and be completely transparent, but to offer our condolences to the family, the community, and all that are involved.
2 investigations are underway to consider if a crime has been committed. The officers are on paid leave. A fundraiser has already started to pay for the funeral, counselling and legal expenses needed, the family says, to fight for justice. Emma Birchley, Sky News.
The search for missing teenager Jay Slater has been called off by police in Tenerife nearly 2 weeks after he disappeared. Police say an investigation into his disappearance remains open. Sky's Becky Johnson reports from Tenerife.
The search is over. There's no longer any sign of police in this rugged, beautiful but treacherous part of Tenerife. It had been the focus of the hunt for missing British teenager Jay Slater. He travelled up to this Airbnb here in the remote northwest of the island with 2 British men after a night out. His phone signal was last located in this area. But a police request for volunteers to join a large search on Saturday only attracted small numbers. With the vast area yielding no clues, the Civil Guard has now called off the search. It means 2 weeks after Jay left this nightclub in southern Tenerife, we're still no closer to knowing what's happened to him.
This is a part of the island that's really popular with young British tourists. And speaking to people, you get a sense they have been more concerned about their safety since Jay Slater's disappearance. and they're now confused about why the search has been called off.
George and Alex from Yorkshire are both 19, the same age as Jay.
But it just makes me feel more cautious about situations and just try and stay as a group.
It's always been on your mind, just in case something happens.
The police have now called off the search up in the mountains. What do you think about that?
A bit early, like,
yeah, I thought.
A bit of a surprise. I've been here nearly a week now, I've not seen any posters, hardly seen any police patrol going around. It's like not what's happened really, so...
Does that surprise you?
Yeah.
In the bars and restaurants along the strip, the news was filtering through.
It's interesting because it's only, 2 weeks ago he went missing? So I think it's a little bit early to call off the search, but obviously they know something that we don't.
It's a bit disappointing in a way because he was a young boy, like has a family, and to know that he's still out there somewhere is quite terrifying.
Jay's mother and family who are out here in Tenerife can now only wait to see what police plan to do next. The search has ended, but the question remains, where is Jay Slater? Becky Johnson, Sky News, Tenerife.
Sir Andy Murray has told Sky News he needs feeling to come back into his leg in the next 48 hours if he's to play singles at Wimbledon this year. But speaking to Sky's Jackie Beltrao, the former champion said playing doubles with his brother would be a special way to finish the tournament if he wasn't fit enough to compete in the singles.
I've been practicing the last few days on the grass. I hit a couple of times yesterday. I played a set today in practice, and it went pretty well. I still don't have like 100% feeling in my right leg, which is not obviously where I would want to be, but it's been getting better every single day, and I'm hoping that in the next 48 hours that continues, which I think it will. It's just whether or not it's going to be good enough.
What needs to change for you to decide you will play singles?
Well, the feeling in my leg needs to change. I feel significantly better than I did at Queen's, but nerve issues are complicated. It's I can't really be guided by my physio or the doctor like how long exactly that is going to take, but we can just keep monitoring it and doing testing each day to see if the strength in the leg is coming back, and it is. It's improved significantly in the last week, but like I said, I don't know whether that's going to be enough, and I don't know how much it will improve in the next 2 days, really.
Do you think you'll be fit enough by Thursday or Friday to play doubles? Will it be good enough to play doubles? And would playing doubles with Jamie here at Wimbledon be good enough for you? Would you be happy with that as a way to sign off?
Well, with each day that goes by, then the chance of me being better increases. I would hope that by Thursday or Friday I would be good enough to play some doubles. And yeah, look, if that's the way it is, and I get to play doubles with Jamie, that'll be really special. Not for me, but also I'm sure for Jamie and all of our family. We've never done that before. So yeah, that would obviously be really really nice and really special as well.
OK, let's catch up with the rest of the sport now. And Louise.
This Sky News Sports Bulletin is brought to you by Vitality. Getting more people more active. Live life with Vitality.
Let's start with the serve and talk us through everything from grip of the racket, stance, the ball toss, the follow through, everything.
Okay, well, I think we'll start with the grip, and it's called a continental grip, like you're trying to shake someone's hand, so like this. And then at this point, I'm really trying to get myself settled, almost like a sniper getting ready to decide where he wants to shoot. And from there, I take the ball and then look where I'm going to serve. If I'm going to go tee or wide, or if I'm going to hit a bit more kick, put a bit more shape, or really try to slice it and hit it short. Step up to the line, one bounce, and then settled again. And then I'm rocking back. I'm going to throw the ball up and really try to drive up with my legs into the serve and try to produce as much power as I can. think it's really key to be as accurate as you can with the serve, and closer to the line obviously has been huge. Really trying to make the opponent stretch and making the next ball a bit easier to put the ball away after that.
Let's talk forehand. You have quite an interesting grip, so tell us about that first of all.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't thought about my grip until right now, but if we're talking about continental, it's just a little bit further round than that. For me, I'm really trying to if I'm split stepping, I'm just taking the racket back, kind of going slow, and then finding one point to really pause and trying to accelerate through as quick as I can. If the ball is coming a bit shorter, and I'm moving up to it and playing a bit more on this front leg, and then really same thing, trying to stay down through the shot and travel and almost like a semi-hop through it, like I'm going to come to the net. So there's two different kind of footwork patterns, and I think it's just, for me, it's trying to recognize what the ball's doing so I can get myself in the best position possible to make the best decision on the shot. The forehand is really all timing, so you want to make sure you're accelerating through and I think making contact next to yourself. I think if you're too far out in front, you're going to miss it maybe wide or in the net, or if you're hitting it late, you're going to miss it long or wide. Really, you're trying to keep your eyes on the strings and your head down. If you watch Federer or Alcaraz hit the forehand, you see that they're watching the ball all the way through the shot. They're not really too concerned about where it's going too soon. I think those guys are probably the best examples on the forehand.
60, 61, perfect. 64, 65, 66.
Let's go, guys! Come on!
It's a tough session, this, because they've just been in like 20-odd degree heat in South Africa, and then everything works so efficiently out there.
Should we just explain? It's 7 degrees and it's Manchester.
It's Manchester on a cold, windy day. Coming into this environment, it's grim. But this is what makes you strong. If you can run these times here, what are you going to run when you're in, you know, these faster races abroad in nice weather? Makes you tough being in the north.
And there is no better way to describe Keely Hodgkinson. A tougher, more determined competitor will be a challenge to find.
Ready, 2, 1, go.
Add world-class talent, and there's the stardust needed to make an Olympic champion.
Looking at the Mo Farahs and the Jess Ennis, it's like, how do they do it every year, over and over again? And I look back now and think, oh, you have done it now for a good couple of years, but it's just keeping that going, I think, is the one thing I'd like to do, and just keep reeling in the medals.
Hodgkinson shot to prominence as an 800-metre runner at the Tokyo Olympics, taking silver.
So far, I've medalled at every championships I've ever been to, which is quite hard to do.
3 women dominate the 800 metres. Hodgkinson, Athing Mu from the USA, and Kenya's Mary Mora.
Unfortunately, I've been second every time.
Easy.
Now I'm at a point where I'm like, right, well, how did we get that gold? And I think every year I've gotten closer and I'm in better shape. So hopefully when that all comes together in a few weeks, I'll be better than I even was before. So that's a great position to be in going into Paris. But I do actually think it's all in the mind. The little tiny split.
This Sky News Sports Bulletin is brought to you by Vitality.
Well, that was Sky News at 10. Coming up, we'll take a first look at tomorrow's newspapers and the press preview. Tonight, we're joined by political journalist and broadcaster Theo Usherwood and Ava Santina Evans, political correspondent at Politics Joe. Amongst the stories we'll be discussing, this on the front of the Financial Times. Its headline: Le Pen's far right defeats Macron in first round of French snap election. Do stay with us, we'll be right back.
We know that one of the best